cake? No need for it. Go ahead and toss it out. That's what my husband said on my birthday. He had the audacity to go on a trip with his mistress. I had hoped this would be our last chance, but it seems I was mistaken. I really don't think I can continue living with you anymore. Understood. In that case, I'll do as you said. I'll throw out the cake, and I'll throw out something else that's important to you as well. Then prepare yourself, because I'm going to throw out the thing that is most unnecessary to me. My name is Sarah. I'm a 28-year-old office worker. My husband, Bob, also works in an office, although at a different company. We don't have any children. Bob and I met a year ago at a party held by a senior colleague from work. I'm rather plain, a bit overweight, introverted, and gloomy, and my hobby is reading comic books. I'm an indoor person, so I was only invited to the party to make up the numbers. Knowing this, I didn't join the conversation much, and just drank my beverage at the edge of the table. Still, out of all the participants there, Bob, who was the most handsome, outgoing, and good at conversing, actively started talking to me. Bob enjoys traveling and collecting vintage vinyl records, and he told me stories about his travels and old music, which were really interesting. When it was time to go home, he asked for my contact details, and though I was surprised, we exchanged our information on Facebook. The very next day, he messaged me, "I'd like to meet up, just the two of us, next time." I was so surprised that at first I wondered if this was some kind of punishment game, or if it was going to try to sell me something, but I was happy, so I agreed, and we had a meal together on a later date. After that, he frequently asked me out, and after a few dates, he confessed his feelings for me. I had never had a boyfriend in my life before, so I was overjoyed at my first ever confession and accepted it. Then, about 3 months after we started dating, he proposed, and we got married. I thought it was like a dream that someone as ordinary and boring as me could marry such a wonderful person, and I believed that a happy life was about to start. But as soon as we got married, Bob's attitude completely changed. When we were dating, he was very kind, but once we got married, he started pushing all the household chores on me and would just laza around watching TV or listening to records in his room when he got back from work. I don't know if it's because the volume of the records is loud, but when I call out, "Dinner is ready," he doesn't seem to hear me and often doesn't come right away, which irritates me. On his days off, he leaves me alone and goes out to play, saying he has plans with friends or colleagues from work. When I say, "Please help me with the household chores a little," he replies, "I'm working." You know, when I tell him, "I'm working too, I'd appreciate it if you could at least help with the household chores on your days off," he says, "I'm busy even on my days off because I have to hang out with my friends. Unlike you, who don't have many friends because you're so gloomy." Ain't that last remark just awful? Sure, I'm not exactly Miss Social Butterfly due to my personality. I get it, but to say such things to my face, that's just plain rude, ain't it? I thought, but I didn't want to start a fight, so I kept it to myself. Gradually, Bob started nitpicking about the way I cooked and cleaned, and before long, he started hurling insults like, "You should be grateful that a great guy like me even bothered to marry a plain and overweight woman like you." I thought a real gentleman wouldn't say such things to his wife and would also help with housework. If he's got issues with the way I clean, I wish he'd at least clean his own room. The only thing he takes care of is his record collection. Also, I love reading comic books, and have collected quite a few over the years. But one day, I found that all the comic books I had in my room had vanished. I asked Bob, suspecting the worst, and he said, "Oh, they were in the way, so I threw them out." I couldn't believe it. Those were important to me. Some of them were even out of print and hard to get. I protested, but he just said, "Well, your comic books were starting to overflow from your room into the living room. Besides, you should outgrow this childish hobby of reading comic books." How dare he criticize my hobbies and throw away my stuff without even asking me? Unforgivable. If he's going to be this awful and verbally abusive, why did he even marry me? Probably, Bob just wanted a free housekeeper. When he met me at a party and saw that I was quite unsubmissive, he must have thought I was an easy target. Realizing this, I've spent many nights crying in bed. It's manageable now, but if we were to have kids, I shudder to think what the future might hold. One day, a friend told me she saw Bob walking arm in arm with a woman who wasn't me in the hotel district. Just yesterday, he said he was going out to meet a friend. I was under the impression that this friend was a man. What does it mean he was meeting a woman? Could he be cheating? With these suspicions, I hired a private investigator. As expected, it turned out that Bob was cheating on me. The other woman was a junior colleague from his office, named Susan. He had been cheating on me since we got married. Whenever he said he was going out to meet friends or colleagues, it was mostly dates with Susan. How dare he dump all the housework on me and then play around? I'm going to divorce him, I thought, and even consulted a lawyer. But even so, I couldn't completely hate Bob, who allowed even a plain and boring woman like me to dream a little about marriage. So I decided to make one last bet. This coming Saturday is my birthday. If Bob would celebrate the day with me, I thought I would hold off on the divorce. At dinner, I said to Bob, "Bob, do you remember what's coming up this Saturday?" "Huh, Saturday. Is there something special going on?" I was a little shocked to realize that he had completely forgotten. At this point, my hopes were dashed again. When I continued the conversation, "It's my birthday." "Oh yeah, now that you mention it, well, it falls on a day off this year, so I was thinking of getting a cake and having it together." "Ah, you promise, right? Absolutely do not make any other plans." "Okay," with a somewhat praying feeling, I said this to Bob, who seemed reluctant. Then it was the Friday before my birthday. During dinner, Bob said, "I have a business trip tomorrow." "What? Tomorrow is my birthday, and we promised to eat cake together. I have already made a reservation." When I said that, he replied, "Well, it's work. I can't help it. Show some understanding for your husband's work. Anyway, I'm going on a business trip tomorrow. It's for 2 days and 1 night, so I'll be back on Sunday evening. Please pack for me." "What about the cake I reserved?" I asked. "Just throw it away if you don't need it," he said casually. I couldn't believe it. Despite it being my special birthday and going through the trouble of reserving a cake, he nonchalantly told me to throw it away. Was it really a business trip? Feeling suspicious, I checked his smartphone while Bob was in the shower. There, I found his exchanges with his mistress. "Shall we go somewhere on a trip this Saturday for 2 days and 1 night?" "Sounds good. I want to go camping. How about it?" "Then I'll make a reservation at Awaji. Are you sure your wife hasn't found out? Are you okay?" "I'm okay. She's oblivious. Actually, this Saturday is Sarah's birthday. She said let's celebrate together, but it's a hassle. I don't want her to start demanding gifts and stuff, so I thought I'd go on a trip with you." "Wow, that's terrible. Your wife must be so sad." I almost cried from the shock, but somehow managed to hold back and took a screenshot of their conversation on my smartphone. I didn't really want any gifts or anything extravagant. If you had just agreed to have a slice of cake with me, I might have held on to a shred of hope that you cared. But seeing those messages between you and your mistress crushed that last bit of optimism. That's Isham done. On my birthday, Bob had the nerve to show up at the door and say, "I'm heading out while I'm on this business trip. Can you clean my room? Also, I'm picking up the cake we reserved today. You still want me to toss your share of it, right?" "You're being annoying." I said. "It's fine." "Got it. I'll clean your room and discard anything I think you don't need. That's okay with you, right?" "Yeah, fine. I'm leaving now." With that, Bob left for what he claimed was a business trip, but was really a getaway with his mistress. Remember when I asked if it was okay to throw away anything I deemed unnecessary, and you said, "Yeah, it's fine." I recorded our conversation, so there's no taking it back. Once I was in Bob's room, I vacuumed and cleaned the windows. Then I got rid of the unwanted items, old clothes, piles of stationery, and his cherished record collection. I packed everything up and put it in the storeroom. I also left the completed divorce papers on the living room table and then left the house. It was my birthday, after all, and I was determined to enjoy it. I picked up the reserved cake and then checked into a luxury hotel I'd always wanted to stay in. I savored the cake in my hotel room. Bob said to throw it away, but I couldn't bring myself to waste food, so I ate both pieces. It was delicious, but now I'm worried about gaining weight and need to start dieting. I spend the rest of the day shopping and strolling by the nearby sea. After days of doing housework, it felt wonderful to have a leisurely day. Just as I was reflecting on this, Bob called me on Sunday night. I really didn't want to answer, but I had no choice. "Hello." "Hey, where the heck are you? I got back from my business trip, and you're not home, and there's no dinner." How frustrating. He was ruining my relaxing hotel stay. I'm staying in a hotel for personal reasons. It's a beautiful spot here. Will you like a picture? "What are you talking about? I don't care about that. Why are you in a hotel? Where's my dinner? Also, I found divorce papers. What's going on?" "Well, if there are divorce papers, you should know what to do. Are you planning to make a paper airplane out of them, just sign and take them to City Hall? So, you want a divorce? Yes, honestly, I'm exhausted. Bob, you leave me to manage everything on your days off and never help with chores. The first thing you do when you call me is complain about dinner. It's unbelievable. And my record collection is missing. What happened to it? Oh, I threw it away. Bob's voice escalated. You threw them away? Are you serious? You knew how much I cherished those. But Bob, you told me before your business trip that I could throw away anything I deemed unnecessary. You said it was fine, so I did. I even recorded our conversation if you want to listen. And by the way, you also threw away my cherished comics, didn't you? That is anyway. Don't just drop divorce papers on me and walk away. I understand. Let's meet and discuss this properly. So, a few days later, even though I had no desire to see Bob again, we had to meet at the lawyer's office. Bob, whom I hadn't seen in days, showed up in disheveled clothes with unkempt hair. I used to be the one who took care of his wardrobe. Maybe his conditioner was running out, but he could certainly buy more himself. Seeing him in such a sloppy state made me question why I ever had feelings for him. I was relieved my concern about potentially changing my mind after seeing him again was unfounded. When the meeting began, I made my position clear. I'll start by saying I haven't changed my mind about the divorce. This is the amount I'm requesting for alimony. I presented the figure I had in mind, and Bob's reaction was immediate and loud. $30 million. Sarah, that's absurd. Just for not helping with housework. Not just for that, I replied, unimpressed. You constantly belittled me, called me names, and worst of all, there's this. I produced the evidence of his infidelity, obtained from a detective agency. I also showed him screenshots of our conversations from that time. You've been cheating since we got married, even lying about a business trip on my birthday to spend time with your mistress. Given all this, $30 million is still not enough. So, Sarah, you knew about the affair. Bob's face went pale as he looked at the evidence. Yes. Did you think I didn't notice? Don't underestimate me, and don't forget, you threw away my beloved comics. But that's because you threw away my records. Oh, the records. I actually lied about that. I considered throwing them out but decided it would be too harsh. I didn't want to be blamed for it, so I kept them. The records are stored at the back of the storeroom. What? Seeing Bob's relieved expression, I said, why are you so relieved? You still threw away my comics, so you need to compensate for that. And as for the cake, you told me to throw it away, but I couldn't waste food, so I ate both pieces. So, you didn't throw anything away? Bob asked, looking confused. I chuckled and said, no need for confirmation. I declared I discard anything I didn't need, and I've done just that. Actually, I'm about to do it. Huh. Bob seemed baffled. I smiled more broadly and said, you're the thing I need the least. I'm going to get rid of you completely. Once you grasp that, please finalize the divorce. The alimony won't be less than this amount. And if you argue, it'll go up. Bob began to wail. I'm sorry, I won't cheat again, and I'll help with the housework if you stay. Help with the housework, so you can go on dates with your mistress, and leave me to handle everything on your days off. No, that's not happening. Bob, distraught, muttered, I'm trash. His broken expression was almost satisfying. Afterward, the divorce was finalized. Since then, all communication has been through our lawyer, and I haven't seen Bob. According to my lawyer, Bob, who had left all housework to me, struggled with domestic duties. He briefly lived with Susan, but their place quickly fell into disarray. They mostly ate out, leading to a poor diet, and Bob started gaining weight. His once handsome face now looked quite unkempt. Susan eventually left him for another job, and rumors of their affair circulated at work, causing Bob further discomfort. He can't quit his job because the alimony I requested is substantial. As for me, I've switched jobs and moved. I'm now enjoying a peaceful life on my own, free from housework and stress. I've been told I look brighter and a bit thinner, and if I continue to lose weight, I might just make Bob regret his decisions even more.